Hello everybody out there, and welcome to another Dark Avenger comic book review. We've got a lot of books this week, guys, so let's waste no time. Mike, the books were released this week on?
November 18, 2015.
Third week of November, 1 week more to go. And this was a very small week. Next week, however, it's a pretty big week, from the big two especially. So, anyway, Mike's behind the camera because just like we used to do, and we're continuing to do, we do the digital books first. So
let's get them up.
And of course, mine are probably going to go first because my whole list was before yours.
Well, if you insist, let's start off with Batman and Robin Eternal, issue number 7.
This was excellent. Dick goes to Prague. We get more flashbacks from the past where Bruce is looking for Mother as Bruce instead of as Batman. You've got Batman and Robin still chasing after the Scarecrow, and they're in Prague. Dick goes to Prague with Harper and Cassandra looking for Orphan because apparently that was the last place where the tracker was. And it turns out, there's a bit of a spoiler here, it was a trap. And Cassandra and Harper are in one part of the trap, and Dick comes face to face, I believe, with, and this is huge for the last page, I believe, Mother. Tim and Jason are off doing something else. I won't talk about that. Read this book. You should be reading this weekly. This is a weekly done right. I am definitely going to be getting the trade paperbacks of this, or maybe the omnibus of it when it does finally come out as paper, you know, to have a physical copy of this. But man, oh man, if you guys are not on board with Batman and Robin Eternal, I know it's pretty steep in right now, but you can still jump in. There's still about 19 issues to go. I believe it's a 26 issue series. I'm loving it. This was an amazing, and the artwork was pretty good in this book. I would definitely say that.
All right. Batman, Arkham Knight, Genesis, issue number 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of Bat books this week. Arkham Knight this week was another. Last issue was all about how, you know, Jason Todd and the Joker, what the Joker did to him. This continues it, but now it's Harley's point of view. In the present, Harley's doing a bank robbery, and she gets stopped by the Arkham Knight, and she's like, "Who are you? You're not Batman, and I don't like copycats." And he's like, "I'm surprised you don't remember me." And she's like, "Oh my God, you're alive?" And then it goes back in time where it shows that Harley's the one that kind of started to push Jason to believing in the Joker, or you know, started fixing him to go against the Batman. And there's a fight between two people who are dressed up like Batman. Ironically, one of them's Catman, which I thought was interesting. And again, it's just another flashback of how the slow decline of Jason Todd from Robin to the Arkham Knight. And she says that Jason Todd's going to be Gotham's knight in shining armor, thus the Arkham Knight, the knight that came out of Arkham. And basically Arkham Knight says, "You're working for me from now on. I can talk, Harley." And that's how the book ends. I like it. I believe there's 1 or 2 more issues to go for this series. It's a nice setup for the actual ongoing series and the game itself. So I'm enjoying it. Nice artwork as well. I love the artwork as well, actually. I know there's another Bat book.
Yeah, Batman...
Europa. Issue number 1.
Yes.
This was a great, oh my God, the artwork. Jim Lee, man, he does great stuff. It opens up with Batman fighting Joker. I believe this will be towards the end of the book because it shows that they're really they're sick, and they're, you know, and Batman's talking about these being his final moments and them being with Joker, which I believe that's how every Bat moment is, you know, destined to end unless the Joker ends before Batman. But anyway, it goes back to the past. We start in the present, or we start in the future and then go to the present, however you want to see it. And Batman's fighting Killer Croc, and there's something wrong, and we see it throughout the entire book. He's sick, and he doesn't know why. He goes back to the Batcave. The computer officially, it gets completely shut down by this virus called the Colossal virus, or the Colossus virus. And it turns out that it's not just a computer virus, it's a virus that Bruce has as well. So now he has to figure out how to cure himself. And long story short, a lot of detective work. He goes to Berlin, and all of the books are taking place in Europe. And ironically, the next book is going to, issue 2 takes place in Prague, which is kind of funny because that's where Batman Eternal is going on right now. But beside the point, he gets to Berlin. He thinks it's the Joker who did it. And funny story, Joker's there in Berlin, and he's at this woman's house, and this woman has abilities, not superhero abilities. She has abilities to crack into computers and whatnot. She got a paycheck. She sent some viruses out to certain computers. She didn't know one was for Batman. And Joker found her through the grapevine, and he believes that this woman has the cure. Because, spoiler alert, Joker has the virus as well. So now Batman and Joker are suffering from the same virus that will kill them in a week. And it's up to the two of them to work together. Never thought I'd say those. Well, it's happened before, but still, I never thought I'd say it again. But they have to work together to figure out and find a cure to save themselves, basically. So I really like this first issue. It was amazing. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Titans Hunt, issue number 2.
This issue was kind of straightforward. Somebody's aiming for Arsenal. Somebody's chasing after Arsenal. We get to see a little bit more, little tidbits of Bumblebee. And then you've got Dick in the Batcave with Alfred trying to do some research on what's going on. And he's like, I can't get help from Spiral. Spiral won't be able to help me. And then, and this is a huge abbreviation. I'm literally abbreviating this book now. Because really it's a lot of tidbits in there. He goes to a beach and he summons Garth. I won't say how either. But it starts this huge fight between the two of them. And Garth is not the Garth from the pre-New 52. I remember a little bit of Aqualad. And then at the end of the issue, I'll spoil this much because it's going to be in the next issue and I'm excited. Donna Troy shows up. And that was, the ending was really cool with the three of them, Dick, Donna, and Garth. There were other little tidbits mentioned within the book, little things going on here and there, but that's the gist of the book. I don't want to give too much away with Titans Hunt because I'm still trying to figure out. There's somebody chasing after the Titans who wants them dead, I believe, and it's a very interesting book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad I tried it out. Artwork was awesome as well.
Extraordinary X-Men, issue number 2.
Alright, issue number 1, Jean turned down Storm and Iceman. However, Storm and Iceman find Old Man Logan. Apparently, because of what happened with Secret Wars, none of the X-Men remember Old Man Logan's explanation of who he really is, so, or where he came from. So they believe it's Logan, except he's older. And I just think it's stupid that they assume that it's their Logan. And I also find it dumb that they found out through Jean in Secret Wars who he really was, or Emma Frost. No, it was Emma Frost actually. And now in this one, because they don't have any psychics around, they don't know he's from a different world where he killed all the X-Men. But Jean knows this. Jean has her own, and he turns down the X-Men. He's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I need to be away. He believes that history will repeat itself, that he'll end up killing the X-Men again, and he doesn't want that. We find out where Storm's X-Men, where all the mutants are being, where they're being housed. I thought it would be in space. It's somewhere completely different. I won't spoil that until the next issue, but it becomes very apparent when a certain character really starts to suffer. You got a Colossus and Magic looking for Nightcrawler, so we don't know where Nightcrawler is at this time, and there's a huge fight that they get into with the people who are chasing after Nightcrawler, and we find out they're working with Mr. Sinister. So there's a real big cliffhanger there. And Jean, who wanted to live the normal life, she just walked away in Uncanny 600 saying, I want to be normal, I don't want to be a mutant, I don't need this, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, it only leads to destruction and death. She sees who she believes is a mutant being beaten up and persecuted against. She saves him by using her mutant powers, and basically she has a boyfriend, ironically named Chris, and he finds out she's a mutie, and basically she outs herself in front of everybody, so she basically screwed her life. She no longer can be undercover because they all know she's a mutant now, and apparently because of what Cyclops did, the world hates mutants even more now. And we get another piece at the end with Old Man Logan, and guess what? Jean went to Old Man Logan, to be continued. Really awesome stuff. I don't even think that Logan expected to see Jean. Like, he even was shocked that she was alive. So, this is a really great issue. I love the artwork. I'm really excited to see where this series goes. So far, my favorite X book, but also the only X book out right now.
Ms. Marvel, issue number 1.
I'm going to let this issue slide because this issue comes back. We come back to Miss Marvel's life, and it's after Secret Wars, and it turns out the guy who admitted he loved her in the last issue of the first volume of Miss Marvel, with Kamala, it's 8 months later, and he's moved on because she told him, "I can never love you." And the whole book is about how him and his girlfriend got together, Kamala kind of being jealous and not admitting it, and then Miss Marvel being used as a figurehead without her prior knowledge, and people starting to hate her because of this company or these people using her as a spokesperson figurehead. Artwork was good. I'll say it was good. It was definitely good. It was better than I expected, but I'm going to give one more issue before I really make a definitive yes or no. It was an okay read. The hero just might not be for me, just like Doc Strange. I tried the last issue of Miss Marvel. I really liked it. I'm really going to try to give a solid issue, a solid story arc, because this was obviously just a, hey, we're back kind of issue. So I'm going to wait for the next issue to really make my definitive decision with Miss Marvel.
The New Avengers, issue number 3.
This might be the first Avenger book that's kind of on the chop block. As I was reading it, the artwork's gorgeous. I don't know. A few people don't like the artwork in this book. I really liked it. I liked the artwork. I'm not a fan of, how do I say this? I'm not a fan of the team. And the direction they're going with the book is kind of like, okay, it's kind of like Young Avengers. But, I like the original Young Avengers. I know I saw a few of the first couple of issues for Young Avengers with Hulkling and Magic. This group of, I believe it was Kree, are looking for Hulkling. They want him to come back. They're searching for him. They need him to lead them. And the whole issue is them attacking AIM Island and trying to get him back. They get him, and Magic kind of goes with him because he can't stop them from taking Hulkling. And the next issue, Hulkling is like going to be a space knight hero thing. I don't even know. They're happy to have him back. That's all I got. The issue, I actually got up and walked away from reading this book a couple of times. It just wasn't holding me, this issue, and that's why I'm having trouble explaining it, because I walked away so many times and came back that to me the book is kind of broken even in memory. So I'm going to give the next issue a shot, because it does connect to the first story arc a little bit with what was released thanks to the maker, but we'll see how this story arc goes. But I think this might be the Avenger book that I let go of first, unless Uncanny Avengers beats it. But so far I think this is going to be the book that I start with, and not because the stories are bad, not because the art is bad, just because it doesn't, for me, it doesn't hold me, for me. But for a few people, I know a few people are enjoying it, but me, I'm okay with it right now.
Black Knight issue number 1.
This book was a pleasant surprise. I enjoyed it. I thought the artwork fit this book perfectly. I do not know anything about the Black Knight. I am completely going into this blind. This could be a total retelling of the character and I wouldn't know it. But I'm not picking up Weird World just because he's in it. I'm putting that out there right now. I will not be reading Weird World, and Mike's not reading Weird World either. But he's in Weird World, and he is the king in this sector of Weird World, and it opens up with him being on this island, and he's defending his kingdom, and then we find out after the fight that he ended up doing something a bit dark before going to Weird World, or being sent to Weird World, or we don't even know how he got there. He is there. I believe he put himself there. But he did a dark deed, let's put it like that, and he finds his U-boat, and he has like this big library of all this stuff, because anything that disappears in the universe ends up in Weird World for some reason. It somehow ends up there, and jeez, it explains what he's done, and you can see that the sword is kind of starting to take its toll on him, and he's telling his tale in this video or tape cassette recorder. And in the end, the Uncanny Avengers show up on Weird World, and he knows they're there to take him back, and he doesn't want to go back. So it looks like the next issue is going to open up as a fight. I thought this was really interesting. I think the character is interesting. I think the story is very interesting. I like how there are these weird moments where he's like, this is what we would classify as bees, and he says we don't have it, and some things they don't even have names for yet, and he's like, we'll call this disgusting or disturbing. I don't know what it was, but I really enjoyed the book, and I'm looking forward to the next issue a lot. I left out a bunch of details on purpose because this is one of those number ones where I think you guys should definitely try it out.
All right, the next 2 books are mine.
Oh, you mean I actually get to rest? Thank you.
Yes. DeadPool, issue number 2. I have to admit, though, after reading this book, this was a lot better than the first DeadPool issue number 1. Like, in this one, it was more focused on James Bourne, about him saying that we should be making money off of this, with all these things we're doing Deadpool related. So it's more like we should be paid for it rather than just getting the gratitude from people saying thank you and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So they have a mission from this guy to get rid of these people out of the apartment that he had, like basically just to evacuate them and all that. And then all the Deadpools in formation with James Bourne just saying the whole thing of changing over, because I have a funny feeling he's going to betray him in the end. They do the deeds of getting rid of them, but they do it in a terrible way because they do get paid for it, for doing that, but then a whole bunch of other stuff happens after that. So, I don't know. I think that James Bourne, like I said, is going to be the first one to go probably off the team. We do get Deadpool where he's talking with Albert. I think that's what his name was. And remember the whole Vision thing that happened when the original sin happened? He saw that he killed his family and everything. Yep. He brings to his attention, but it wasn't Wade he was talking to. Because spoiler alert, he kills him, but we don't know who was behind the mask and who heard the secret of Wade Wilson's killing his parents. And we don't know. So this is making me say I gotta know who that was. So I'm gonna continue, but if it's gonna keep going to a downward slope, I might just, because I want to know who it is, because that was really something else, and artwork was great as well. All right, SpiderWoman issue number 1.
That book I skimmed through it a bit too. It looked really good.
I really liked it. Like, it's really going through the pregnancy stages of.
You can come here now, since you don't have to worry about digital anymore.
Of Jessica Jones, right?
No, Jessica Drew. Jessica
Drew. Oh, sorry.
Jessica Jones is the one that we're watching on Netflix.
I meant Jessica Drew. I get those mixed up. About her going through the prenatal stage, like finding out that she's pregnant, then the agents following her saying, you can't do that because you're pregnant and everything. And we get the whole thing of how she's so bored and tired and everything, and she goes for her appointment, but there are these bad guys now while holding up places, the Kree, and it's like saying, like, what is she going to do now, or is someone going to, come in? I also like the little party that she had where Spider-Man was there and not Wolverine. Was it Wolverine?
Iron Man, yeah.
Iron Man was there, and then we asked who the father was. It was just crazy and all over the place. But that was a really great book, and I really like the artwork, and I can't wait to see what next is going to bring.
All right, we're going into our physical books of the week, and we do have some indie books.
I got 2 again, ironically.
Yeah, but one of yours is indie, so I'll do mine, and then you could do yours and get those out of the way. Actually, I have 2, I believe. Yes, so I'll do my 2, and then after my 2, you can do your 1. Invincible, number 125, part 2 of 3 of Reboot. This one, Mark confronts his father about, listen, Dad, I know what you're going to do at some point, and I'm trying to stop you. You're going to try to beat me up. You're going to try to take over the world, because you find out that Voltrumites can mate with humans and their babies have powers. So you're going to try to save your race by trying to take over the world. You're going to kill all the Guardians of Earth. And I'm telling you this now because you're going to regret it. You're going to wish you never did it. And you're going to want, you're going to wish you could take it all back. And you can't. So I want you to know, now you can't do it. Don't do it. You have your chance now. I'm giving you the opportunity. And unfortunately, that leads into a fight between Mark and his dad, and they actually end up in the Guardians lair. And the Guardians, Mark tells them what's going on, a huge fight between the Guardians and Mark's dad, happens, and they're all shocked, and they do end up, spoiler alert, they end up stopping Mark's father, and he, what's his name? Oh, shoot, I forgot his name. Shoot, he's been around for a bit. Darn it, I had his name and completely left me. But the guy Mark used to work for shows up and takes Mark's dad, and he wants Mark to try to convince his dad to come over to their side again. And he also finds Mark, he wishes he could help Mark in any way he can, but for right now, he said he'll do whatever he can, and Mark's like, yeah, because a person who knows the bad things that are going to happen in the future is very useful. He's like, you know what, kid? I already like you. And Mark's dad actually says thank you to Mark for what he's done, because he got really mad, and the reason the fight happened was because he knew Mark was telling the truth, and he just didn't want to believe it, and he was blinded by his own rage. So this was an interesting issue, and the question at the end is very true. I wonder where we're going to go from here after next issue. So I'm really excited to see where Invincible 126 will leave us off. Well, it's got to be a pile of books, so.
All right.
From IDW. Now, this is a DC IDW book, so take your choosing. It's Star Trek Green Lantern, issue 5 of 6. And honestly, most of the book is Sinestro, Larfleeze, and Atrocitus versus the Green Lantern Corps. And yes, when I say Green Lantern Corps, the Corps shows up. And, of course, the Star Trek crew, the Enterprise crew. But yes, it turns out the Green Lantern Corps also was had made it to the DC Universe space, and the Hal's trying to explain to Sinestro, Necron is alive. He's here with us, and we need to band together to stop him again. He's like, fine, we'll put aside our reckoning. We'll just have to wait till later. And it turns out Scotty ended up making a power ring that kind of replicates what the Lantern Corps rings do. It gives the wearer a full body shield and a phaser. It's a phaser and shield mixed into one, and I thought that was really cool. And then the crew everybody finds out that Vulcan is alive again, and this is personal for Spock. So they go to Vulcan, and Necron's there, and we know what Necron can do. To be concluded in the next issue. Man, oh man, this series just keeps getting better and better. The action in this book is excellent. The story is definitely really great. I can't wait to see how this all comes to a conclusion. Now, you have one indie book this week from Archie. Yeah,
Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 278. There are two stories. The first one is a brand new story, and the second one is where it left us off last time. The first one was called Face of the Enemy, Part 1, Friends in Need, where Sonic meets up with a new people that are called the Freedom Fighters also, and they are saying that oh my god, you're Sonic the Hedgehog, you're like a role model and everything. So they team up with him to find out about the Gaia temples and to go on that mission as well. And there's some artwork which is classically drawn. We get Werehog action in this, and as they're trying to get in the temple and everything, they're surrounded by Nephris or Vulture, who's the regional egg boss. So this is going to be something else for that one. And then we get Hidden Course Part 2, where it's really just Bunny trying to secure the Chaos Emerald she has to restore the world, whereas Sally talks with this other person who doesn't know about the Chaos Emerald but knows more about her and what she's been through and all the other stuff. And we get
Sally's been through a lot since Worlds before Worlds
Unite.
Collide. Remember, she died before Worlds Collide.
Oh yeah, but that was after they found out everything. Even Bunny, we find out a little bit about her stuff, about how she feels about when she was a cyborg. The ending part was like the robot was showing her where the storage area was, like to get out of there, like for freedom. But instead, she gets the one tricked by the Chaos Emerald being taken from her, which was a trick. And I like how they say a shocking secret revealed. I want to know what that shocking secret is going to be, and that's what gets me to really, I just can't wait to see how next issue is, but something to check out if you're a Sonic fan.
Star Wars issue number 12. Now, I know you have Vader Down's one shot. Yours is going to be later on, but in this issue, we get the grand finale to Luke and Han, and we find out the woman who's claiming is his wife really isn't. She's just doing it to screw with him. She wants her cut of the money that he gypped her out of. Everybody's on the same planet now, but it turns out that the person that's working for the Hut, turns out he is an undercover agent for the Empire, and he has no care in the world for Luke being killed, because he knows Luke is a prisoner, is a wanted person from the Empire. He turns on Jabba. The Empire shows up to try to take not only Jabba in, but take Luke in. And it turns out that R2 finds the stash of lightsabers and ends up giving lightsabers, and this was a hilarious picture. The blasters die, and Leia, Han, and Chewie find R2, and they end up with lightsabers for the rest of this story, and that was really cool. So they're fighting to find Luke. They find Luke. They escape. Unfortunately, when they escape, they leave all of the Jedi relics behind. All Luke gets back is Obi-Wan's book and his lightsaber. I believe it's his lightsaber anyway. And we find out that Darth Vader is right on Luke's tail. Now, it doesn't say to be continued. It doesn't say,
It continues in Vader Down.
It does continue in Vader Down, but I believe the main Star Wars story is not going to continue until Star Wars issue number 15, where I believe we get another issue where it's all about Obi-Wan again, like another chapter from Obi-Wan's book.
So maybe it's a totally different universe.
I enjoyed this story arc. I'm looking more forward to seeing where Obi-Wan's next story is going. Secret 6 issue 8 was a very weird issue.
Has it?
I never thought I'd say that. I thought that this would really hold me, but this was a very weird issue. Etrigan is with most of the team, and Black Alice and Wells are being attacked by a group. Cheetah, oh God, you remember her name? The girl who's made of all purple. This girl.
Oh, wow, why is her name escaping?
But anyway, Black Alice basically cleans up against them, and she actually steals Cheetah's powers as well. They are trying to convince Wells that Black Alice needs to go, and they need to protect these alabaster columns. And there's another group who meets up with the team that's at the golf course, which this was the weird part. Etrigan at the golf course, out of nowhere, he's in a golfing outfit, and it will get weirder as we continue forward in the book. He's in a golfing outfit. They're told that they need to destroy the alabaster columns, and I guess the team chooses to believe this person over the magical council or whatever, and they choose to destroy the columns, but they leave Black Alice behind to be watched by what's her name? I forgot his name, but by these people. I forgot their names off the top of my head. I'll remember after the video and I'll kick myself. But one ends up going with them, and the first column...
I think it was Purple Orchid.
There it is.
Yeah.
But the first column is underwater, and here's another weird thing. Etrigan again, in a nice underwater getup. That was weird.
Very weird.
So then Aquaman shows up. That's how crazy this is getting already. And Aquaman's like, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" And they're like, "Dude, none of your business. We're just here to handle some business, and then we'll be out of your way." And Aquaman's not really having that. Him and Catman get into a bit of a fight. They find the alabaster column. Unfortunately, though, they possibly drown in the process. To be continued. This is a very weird issue. There were some moments where I did double take, and most of them with Etrigan. So this series is starting to get lower. And as the weird happens, that's when things are going to start to... Action Comics 46, I'm convinced we are now in the present because Superman is going after Wrath. He's been infected with whatever the shadow force is that Wrath controls, and he saves all the people from the last issue. I will say that much. And then he basically chooses to chase down Wrath. And I love how, again, and I know Jay will agree with me, he calls his father instead of Pa. And he says it multiple times in this book, which now that Jay points that out to me, every time Superman says anything but Pa, it like clicks in my head. He never says that. But it turns out she also has Frankenstein under her control, and she distracts Superman by having him fight Frankenstein. She wants Superman and Lee to join her, and they don't want to because she believes that she can help the world with the shadow stuff.
There's a lot of Justice League Dark people that are going in these separate comic books.
And the next issue is going to be Superman versus Frankenstein. I don't know how I feel about Action Comics lately. Honestly, I need to get past... In my head, it's like, just keep reading to get past this Power Down saga, and then you'll get back to, hopefully, some Norm with Superman. And Lois and Clark comes out next week, or next episode, so I'll be happy to read that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you're next, because mine is
I have Star Wars Vader Down one-shot. This is the only one-shot that's coming out.
I'll be reading that probably after this review, because I will be following it since it involves Star Wars. Mike will probably be reviewing it all, but I want to follow it.
This was really just Darth Vader going to Vargas Voss to find the boy of
That's a nice page.
Skywalker. Yeah.
I love X-Wings.
Yeah, artwork in this story was like really amazing, and when he meets up with them, like they try to get him out, and it's like really like they think that they got him, and he's like doing all these tricks and using the Force and everything, and thinking that they got Vader down. There's one person who gets Vader, which is Luke.
I knew it.
Who actually gets him down, and they actually both go down at the same time. So. And there's just like lots of things that happen afterwards. I don't want to give too much away. Meanwhile, we get Obi-Wan and
not Obi-Wan. That's Han Solo.
I mean, Han Solo. I'm so sorry, Han Solo, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with everything that's going on the planet, and they want to fly to find out what's going on over there. Meanwhile, we have. Alpha, who is wondering if Vader's dead or not, so she's gonna go to hyperspeed the way he did to find out if he's alive or dead. And of course he's alive. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, this takes place between episode 4 and 5.
Yeah, and when Darth Vader, I like how they don't say to be continued. When they say, like, lay down your weapons, you're surrounded, he's, like, saying, I am surrounded by his fear and dead men. And then next page, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, they left me on a cliffhanger like that. I'm like, oh. And the next one will continue in Darth Vader issue number 13. Which I am going to get, because I want to know now what happens after he pulls out his sword. And
I believe it comes out next week also.
Oh.
So the next book, which is the last book, I put last because it's the last issue of this mini. And that's Green Lantern Lost Army issue number 6. It was an interesting way to end the series. We're getting this back in 2 months. They're taking a month off basically, and then we're getting Green Lantern Edge of Oblivion, which is basically Lost Army 2.0. The Lanterns show up at Mogo, and they try to save him. It turns out he's being attacked by these pyramids and by tons of other lightsmiths. And certain Green Lanterns get hit with... and we find more Green Lanterns like Simon Baz and other Lanterns on Mogo. And it turns out when a Lantern's hit by a specific color light from one of the pyramids, it changes them. They're still Green Lanterns, but they're blue. Their symbol doesn't change. They don't become fully blue lanterns or hope, but they end up... their color is changed, not their abilities. And Mogo just... all the pyramids kind of land on Mogo, and...
Oh, wow.
He gets like this... I want to find that page where it should... Yeah. He gets a rainbow halo around him. And he basically now possesses every single one of the Spectrum lights, except for, obviously, black and white. Because life, there's only one... No.
Oh.
And black is death. So he basically now having the ability to control all of the lights. Basically, he banishes all of the lightsmiths off of his planet, or he'll basically kill them. There was a flashback with John, which I did not care about, and then there's kind of a chill down period where they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then they figure out where they might have come from was the source wall. And there was a little bit of a twist with the source wall, and I believe it has something to do with another Lantern story arc that we were just reading about, but I'm not going to say what my predictions are yet because I don't know where it is. But they get to the source wall, they see the fissure, and then the next thing they know, the fissure is closed. So now they're trapped, and they don't know what they're going to do next, but John is confident they'll find a way back, I think. And then we find out that Krona and Relic are devising a plan to force the Lanterns to help them because Krona believes they're not going to save their universe. They're just going to figure out a way to get home and go home. So he says they're devising a plan to get the Lantern Corps to help them. To be continued in the next miniseries, which hopefully will then lead into the next Lantern event so we can get this done and over with. I thought it was an okay issue. Again, it's the end of the series. If you'd like to check out Lost Army, I'm sure there'll be a trade paperback with all 6 issues. You could check it out there and be ready for Edge of Oblivion in January. I'll be getting it because I want to see, the outcome of all that's going on with the Lantern books right now, and I'm praying it'll be better than Lost Army. But we'll have to wait and see. And with that, that's it for this review, guys. Let us know what you thought about any of the books we talked about here, any of the books we didn't talk about, recommendations, agree, disagree with us. We love hearing from you guys, and we will definitely answer all your guys' comments in the comments below. Also, in the description below is a bunch of links connected to stuff right here on Dark Avengers C86, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, Frontline Gaming Zone, and Last Ember Press, all places that one or both or one of us is working on. So check them all out at your leisure. And until next time, everybody, you need to push the button.
I know, but can I do my, thing? I mean,
no.
I do my thing all the time.
So until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys really soon in the next review, or in the next video.
Bye, everybody.